Friends, Americans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Today we're diving deep into the belly of the American justice system, a system that, let's be honest, often feels like it's digesting justice rather than serving it. We're talking about plea bargains, those seemingly innocuous deals that have become the lifeblood of our courts. But are they really innocuous, or are they a wolf in sheep's clothing, undermining the very foundations of our legal system? Think about it. When a judge takes the bench, they swear a sacred oath. Article 6 of the Constitution demands it. They pledge to uphold the Constitution, to protect and defend its principles. That's not a suggestion, folks, it's an obligation. Now let's talk about duties and rights. They're like two sides of the same coin, inseparable and eternally linked. You see, every right we cherish, every freedom we hold dear exists because someone somewhere has a duty to uphold it. This is the bedrock of our democracy, the doctrine of duties and rights. It's the invisible hand that balances the scales of justice, ensuring that our individual liberties are safeguarded. But what happens when this delicate balance is disrupted? What happens when the scales tip in favor of expediency over justice, of efficiency over fairness? Enter the Fifth Amendment, a cornerstone of our legal system, a beacon of protection for the accused. Remember the phrase pleading the fifth? It's not just a catchy legal term. It's a fundamental right enshrined in our Constitution, a shield against self-incrimination. The Fifth Amendment guarantees that no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. It's a powerful safeguard against coercion, ensuring that the government can't force us to confess to crimes we didn't commit. But here's the kicker, folks. Plea bargains, in their current form, often chip away at this fundamental right. They create a coercive environment where innocent people, terrified of the consequences of a trial, might feel pressured to plead guilty even when they're not. Let's call a spade, shall we? Plea bargains in many instances bear an uncanny resemblance to a very ugly word, extortion. Now, I know what you're thinking. John, isn't that a bit extreme? But stay with me here. Extortion, at its core, involves using intimidation or threats to force someone into giving up something of value. Think of a mobster saying, "Nice little life you got there. Shame if something were to happen to it." Now, replace the mobster with a prosecutor, the threats with a potential life sentence, and the something of value with the defendant's freedom. Suddenly, the line between a plea bargain and extortion starts to look awfully blurry, doesn't it? Section 5. Under duress, the illegitimacy of coerced agreements. Here's another legal bombshell for you. Contracts signed under duress are illegal. That's right, folks, illegal. And guess what? A plea bargain is essentially a contract between the defendant and the state. Duress, in legal terms, means being forced into an agreement under threat or coercion. It's like signing a contract with a gun to your head. Not exactly a recipe for a fair and binding agreement, wouldn't you say? So if a defendant is pressured into accepting a plea bargain because they fear the overwhelming power of the state, the crushing weight of legal fees, or the terrifying prospect of a lengthy prison sentence, can we truly say that their agreement was freely given? I'll let you be the judge of that. Section 6, a history marred by injustice, the roots of plea bargains. Now, let's take a little stroll down history lane, shall we? The origins of plea bargains, like so many things in the American justice system, are rooted in a not-so-pretty past. Following the Civil War, the South was in chaos. The justice system was overwhelmed, flooded with cases, and struggling to cope with the influx of newly freed slaves who were often denied basic rights. To expedite trials and clear court dockets, plea bargains became a convenient tool, a way to process cases quickly, often at the expense of justice. It was a system ripe for abuse, and sadly, not much has changed. Section 7. Innocents sacrificed. The alarming truth behind plea deals. The statistics are sobering, folks. According to the National Registry of Exonerations, thousands of innocent people have been wrongfully convicted, many coerced into plea bargains under the immense pressure of the justice system. These are not just numbers on a page. These are human beings. Individuals who have lost years of their lives, their freedom, their reputations, all because of a system that prioritizes expediency over justice. Even legal manuals, those dry tomes of legal precedent, acknowledge the problem. They openly state that innocent people plead guilty all the time, highlighting the deeply flawed nature of a system that allows this to occur. Section 8, reclaiming your rights, challenging void judgments. Now here's a glimmer of hope in this rather bleak landscape. Did you know that you can actually challenge a void judgment? That's right, folks, you can fight back. Civil Rule 60, B4, allows for the vacating of void judgments. A void judgment is essentially a legal oxymoron, a decision that lacks the very essence of a valid judgment jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is the power of a court to hear and decide a case. If a court lacks jurisdiction, any judgment it renders is null and void, as if it never happened. Section 9, restoring justice, a call for systemic reform. We've got a long way to go, folks. Reforming the justice system isn't about being soft on crime or hard on crime. It's about being smart on crime, about creating a system that is truly just, that values fairness and due process above all else. We need to rethink plea bargains to ensure they are not tools of coercion, but rather instruments of genuine justice. We need to empower judges to exercise their discretion wisely, to remember that their duty is to the Constitution, not to clearing dockets. Section 10, toward a more perfect union. The moral imperative for change. This isn't just a legal issue, folks. It's a moral one. It's about who we are as a nation, what we stand for. Do we want to be a nation that values expediency over justice, that sacrifices the rights of the individual on the altar of efficiency? Or do we want to be a nation that lives up to its highest ideals, a nation that cherishes liberty, that demands fairness for all, that believes in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt? Section 11, conclusion, safeguarding our rights for generations to come. The choice is ours, folks. We can continue down the current path, a path that leads to a justice system riddled with coercion and injustice, or we can choose a different path, a path that leads to a system that truly lives up to its name, a system that protects the innocent, that holds the guilty accountable, and that ensures that every single American, regardless of their station in life, is afforded the full measure of justice promised by our Constitution. The time for reform is now. Let's make it happen.
Open your eyes.